So people, it is Jeffrey Kaminsky back here with the first video in a while, and that is largely because I had some videos I was ready to post, but I just wasn't happy with the quality of them. And if I'm going to put something out to you guys, my loyal subscribers, I'd rather it be something that I can be proud of. Speaking of, if this is your first time on the channel, consider subscribing if you happen to like wrestling and lifting content. With that stuff out of the way, it is now April, which means that wrestling season is long behind us, and it is the off-season, which is a perfect time to reflect on how your year went and what you need to do to accomplish your goals next year. But instead of doing any of that boring stuff, I signed up for a strongman competition. This means that my goals have temporarily shifted, because if I don't get strong enough, I'm going to get hurt. That means that I can be a little fatter. I don't have to be in top wrestling shape either. I'm currently sitting around 220 pounds, which is the heaviest I've ever been, and I'm a little less lean than I was at 197. That's alright. So I'm literally the strongest that I've ever been. Now I'm about to play some of my training highlights from a couple weeks ago, and in the background I'm going to talk about what I'm actually doing to get stronger, besides just being a fat kid and dry scooping creatine every morning. And yes, we are in portrait mode, but this is my channel, so I'm going to do what I want. Alright, so we start the commentary off with my farmer's walks, which while these might seem pretty heavy, compared to the weights I'm going to have to move in my contest, which are 250 and 290 pounds per hand, these are really light. I'm actually happy they're moving pretty fast, we gotta get bigger at these. Brings us to my deadlifts, where this is the fastest and smoothest I've ever pulled these weights before. And I've really been focusing on trying to keep my back angle solid throughout the entire lift, because while we're all going to have different starting angles in our back, just based on how we're built, the important thing is it doesn't deteriorate throughout the lift. As for the strict press, this is something that really hurt my shoulders to do during wrestling season, so I haven't really trained it a whole lot recently. But I guess the gym bro outfit kind of gave me the strength to put together a 10-pound PR, which I can't complain about. Here you're going to see me do some power snatches, which are a newer movement to me-ish, but I still can't get in a front rack position, so I can't really do cleans. So this is something that I can do to learn a new movement skill and develop power at the same time. You're about to see me hit 185, which is the last weight that I actually got, the heaviest one. So now I'm like officially as strong as some female CrossFit athletes, but you can see in the next ones that I didn't really get it, I didn't catch it as well. I almost press it out, so I'm not counting those. I tried it again, get the same result. If you've been a fan of the channel for any amount of time, you'll know that I have a really bad relationship with my squat. About 3 years ago, I hit 365 really easily. Then a couple of reasons, because of not squatting as much, and then a couple of injuries. I didn't squat as much. Then, so last year, I got 335 for a PR, and it was grindy, which that is not a very respectable weight for a guy my size. But now I can literally do that for 5, which is a little more respectable. But how did I get there? You know, I worked on my mobility a lot more, got in deep squats as often as I could, worked on my ankle and hip mobility. I dialed in my technique so that the walkout and breathing on every single rep looks the exact same. But the biggest thing that I did that you can apply to any of your lifts that are also struggling is that I increased the frequency. Instead of just doing it once every 1 to 2 weeks because I sucked at the lift, I made it a point to do it 2 to 3 times per week to get my body used to being in that position and build strength there. Now, I'm not saying you gotta max out 3 times a week and go super heavy. Maybe you go heavy once, and then the other 2 days, you do a variation that's a little lighter, just so you're still getting that movement in. That way your body is getting adapted to that stimulus. A lot better than if you just did it once a week. And I've been doing the exact same thing with my other lifts too. And that's why I feel like they've gotten pretty strong pretty quick. The squats is a little more noticeable. One thing that I would like to fix about my squat is that if you look at my feet, you can tell that they're a little staggered. Now, I think this is because I'm a left lead leg in wrestling, and this is the same kind of trend that I've noticed among some of my other guys that I train. But it is not going to affect me too much at these weights. As I get stronger, it'll probably be more beneficial to be even. Here you see me rock the shit out of 355, not 255. So I decided to put on 365 and see if I was just as strong as I was my junior year of high school. And spoiler alert, I get it. So now I can say that I'm officially as strong as I was when I was 16 years old. Of course, I might be 30 pounds heavier, but we're not going to talk about that. Hope you enjoyed the video today. Make sure to look out for more content coming out in the future.